Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the public API package for R, which will be under rPublic in CRAN. If it's not yet available, I'll go ahead and provide the tar file in my Patreon, and once it's accepted in CRAN, I'll go ahead and add a GitHub as well. If you're dealing with the tar file, here are some examples on how to go ahead and install it from source, whether you're running it in Windows or Mac. And then once it's available in CRAN, we can just go ahead and install it as you would for any other package and then require it. If you haven't watched my tutorial on how to get started with this API, please make sure you go over that first, as we are going to be making authenticated requests. So you're going to need your secret key and have this file generated called RP tokens. So let's go ahead and go over the endpoints. So we're going to go ahead and require the package. We're going to start off by getting our public brokerage accounts, and you're going to notice that for all of the functions within the package, they all begin with RP underscore. So let's go ahead and run line 33, and we're going to take a look at that data frame. So I have only one account, and for some of the requests, we're going to need to pass in our account ID, especially for the orders. Here you can see that this is a brokerage account, your options level, the account type, which is cash, and the trading permissions. Once you have a list of your accounts, can go ahead and go to the second block, which we will request our portfolio, and this includes positions, equity breakdown, buying power, and open orders. And since I'm recording this, for some of these I'm just going to replace the account ID with NA instead of blurring out my account. So if we run this block here, you will see your account ID here at the very top, your account type, your buying power, the type of account. So I have a cash account here, your total equity. So very standard. At the very bottom, you'll see all your orders or pending orders. When I was testing some of these functions, I went ahead and placed some orders. And one thing to note is that you can't actually cancel them until the market opens, and that's for live orders. So just make sure that when you're testing this, you place your limit price way below what the market is showing so that it doesn't get filled. So here I tried placing a Rivian covered call strategy and the order status. So again, it's pending to cancel. And for the second order I have pending to cancel, it was just a SPY call. And just to verify, you can go ahead and go to your public account, and here in the queue, we see these two orders. Now our next function is to get our history. Now for this function, we only need to pass in our account ID. Optionally, you can set the start and end times along with the page size, but I figured I'd just show the first page since it's quite lengthy. So it goes from oldest to newest. So if you're trying to reconcile your trades, you can go ahead and use this function. Now we can also get a list of all instruments. So here in the next block, you can run it without any parameters to get a list of all instruments, or if you want to be specific, you can enter the filter types. So here in line 64, we can filter for equity only, those that are tradable to buy and sell, and I want to get a list of all equities that are enabled for fractional shares. So let's go ahead and run this block here. We'll check out all instruments. So there's a list of 41,000, which involves various types. So we have bonds, equities, crypto, and you could also filter this list in R. So if we check out the type, we can click on bonds and buy and sell. So this will go ahead and condense the list down, but you can always just request the data that you want from the API. So for the fractional shares, there's approximately 7,800 different equities enabled for fractional trading. But if you just want to check one instrument, you can do so from the API by running get instrument. So we're going to check Tesla and Bitcoin. And if we click on those data frames, we see that for BTC, it's allowed for trading and fractional trading, but disabled for option and option spread trading. For Tesla, it looks like all of these features are enabled. Now we can also get quotes from the API. So here, starting in line 78, you can get a quote for one symbol, and I provided an example on how to run if you're trying to get multiple. So we can go ahead and run this block, and I created a function to build the option symbols the way Public wants them in, and you can access that by typing in .rp make option symbol. So this is the appropriate format, but within the function you just enter the underlying symbol, the expiration date, the type, which will be a capital C for call, uppercase P for put, and then the strike. And you would just pass them in as a vector if you're trying to get multiple quotes, and just make sure that you include the appropriate types. So for Google, this is an equity, our SPY call is an option, and then XPX is just an index. So if we take a look at both of these data frames, we have my quote, which was just for SPY, and for the multiple, we have Google, our option, and then our index. Now for the index, we don't have the bid or the ask. So back in our R markdown, we can get option expirations. So here I just wanted to check the option expiration dates for SPX, which is an index. So if we go ahead and run this block here and then check the actual data frame, it returned a list of 40 entries or 40 dates. So these are all available expiration dates, and you can go ahead and use this list to get the option chains. So here in the next block, we have how to get the option chains. So by running this function and passing in your account ID along with the ticker, the type, and the expiration date, we can get a list of the option chains for SPX. So let's take a look at that data frame. So if you notice, these look like the quotes where we have the symbol, the bid and the ask, the volume, the open interest, and I have added the side just to make it simpler. So we have our calls and you'll see the puts way at the bottom. Now the API is pretty cool because you can check the pre-flight, which will give you a breakdown of the associated costs with the order without actually submitting the order. So here we have pre-flights for a single leg and multi-leg. And for the single leg, I want to see the associated cost of buying Tesla at the market. I want to enter a day order. And since this is allowed for fractional shares, I want to buy half a share. So if we run this block here, it returns the symbol, the type, the QSIP, the order value, the quantity in shares, the estimated cost, and the buying power requirements. We could also use it for options. So first, we're going to go ahead and build our option symbol. So this will be for a SPY put using the 630 strike. We're going to go ahead and pass that into the pre-flight order. Single leg, pass in our account ID. We want to buy this using a limit order. The time in force is good till day. When you use GTD, you need to enter an expiration time. So we're just going to go ahead and add 5 days from our current time. We just want to buy one contract at a limit price of 10 cents. And when you do options, you also need to set the open close indicator. So we're buying to open. So let's go ahead and run this block here. And here we see the breakdown. So for this option, it includes all the fees associated with it, the order value. Since I entered 10 cents and we're only buying one contract, it'll be $10. Since we have 4 cents in fees, we need to have at least $10.04. But here we also see that we get an option rebate of 6 cents. So the actual estimated cost is only $9.98. And we can also do this for multi-leg orders. So here in the next block, we have what would happen if I buy a covered call. So the way you would enter these is similarly to the blocks above using our account ID. Here I want to enter a limit order and the quantity is 1. So for quantity, this is a multiplier of the leg ratios. So if I would enter a 2, it would multiply the leg ratios by 2. So for our leg ratios, we have the underlying and then a 635 call that expires August 22. For the leg types, the first symbol is an equity, the second is an option. For the sides, we want to buy the underlying, sell the option. And for the leg indicator, these pertain to the actual legs. So the first one is buying to open, second is selling to open. For the leg ratios, we have 100 shares of the underlying and 1 option contract. The time in force is day and the limit price is 630. So you would kind of have to check what the prices are for the underlying and for the option and just enter the net amount in here. And if we take a look at the breakdown for this order, so here we see that for the strategy, this would be our buying power requirement to enter the trade. Now you can also just do this for spreads, and the way you would enter that, placing your account ID, the order type, the quantity, or the multiple. I have the leg ratio set to 1. So in total, I would just buy 2 of each. These are my leg symbols. Both of these are options. The first one I'm buying, the second one I'm selling, and that's for a limit price of 10. So if we go ahead and run this block here, it was able to identify what type of spread this was. So if you remember, I placed the quantity of 2 for $10 each. So the total buying requirement turns out to be $20.20. Now to actually place an order, you would use the RP order single for both equities and options. And similarly to the block above, we need to enter the account ID. And the only real change for the live orders is that we need to place an order ID, which I have created a function that'll return a random order ID for you. For equities, we need to pass in our account ID, the symbol we want to trade, which is an equity in this case, our order ID. We want to send a buy limit order for the day only. I only want to buy 1 share, and this will be my limit price. So when you run this, it'll return an order ID if it's successful, and you can verify that order online. So now we have Palantir here for 1 share at $100 and a penny. So we're just going to go ahead and leave that there for now. Now to place an order for an option, it's very similar. We're going to start off by requiring an order ID. We're going to build our option symbol. And again, this will be a limit order. We want to buy 1 contract for 20 cents. And whenever you're dealing with options and orders, you need to make sure you enter or pass in the open close indicator, which in this case, we're buying to open. So let's go ahead and run this. And we can go ahead and verify that online as well. So now we have our order here. Now back in R, we can also place multiple leg orders. So just be cautious with placing these types of orders in the live market. The way you would enter this would be first to require an order ID. Make sure you get your option legs correct. So here I have 2 calls and 2 puts. We're going to sell the spread on the call side and the put side. And to place the order, we're going to start off by entering our account ID. The order type will be limit. Pass in our order ID as well. The ratio or the quantity quantity is just 1. Here we enter all of our leg symbols, the leg types, which all of these are options, the leg sides, the leg indicators, the leg ratios, the time and force, and the limit price. So if we go ahead and run this block here, so I get an error because of my options level, but if you're able to trade these types of options, this is how you would set it up. Now we can also get our orders and cancel orders. So I'm going to grab my order ID for the equity and see what type of data it returns. So to get the order and cancel the order, we need to pass in our account IDs and the order IDs. So I'm just going to manually paste them in. So if we get the order here, it's able to provide the order details, and we can go ahead and cancel it as well. So if we take a look at our account online, we see that the Palantir order disappeared. Now lastly, we can get the option Greeks. So we start off by building our option symbol, and we're going to use this function using our account ID and the option symbol. So if we run this block here, it'll return all the Greeks along with the implied volatility as well. So that covers all the public API endpoints. So let me know what you guys think. I'll leave a link down in the description area to my Patreon where you can find the script. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.